Hello, welcome to our first official video about our app Nodes. Today we are explaining the main features of our app. And yes, we will start right away. I'm Luca from one of the developers from Nodes, and here it's Nico. First of all, I will create a new node. And here we go, we can start with the main Markdown features. So just the basics, for example, the heading. Hopefully you all know of them. And then we have bold, right? We have bold ones. It's just bold and then italic.
And it all works with syntax, right? So how do you do a heading, for example?
Yeah, just with the syntax and hashtag and then in space. So if you click in them, you can see the syntax there. And there's also some nested ones, like if I'm writing nodes, I can write the N and then I can make the O italic. And so then it looks like some kind of like that. And then we have LaTeX. Should I explain LaTeX? Yes, LaTeX. Yes, we can just use the Eigenwert formula, just AV, and then lambda, right?
Yes. Lambda, a little small lambda though, yeah.
Yeah, lambda,
V.
V. And yeah, that's a formula. It looks pretty nice.
Looks very nice.
It looks really nice. And yes, and then we have code blocks. I can explain.
Also, you can combine the LaTeX with, for example.
With this, we can show it
so
as well.
Make it like a heading, for example.
Like a heading. Then there's a heading with LaTeX. That's all really nice.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
Yes, and then we go on with code blocks. So we're using the language Swift because we're Swift developers. So if you click enter, there's a code block you can see, and then you can just write a quick function, for example, calculate, and without input. And yes, and then you can write an arrow, and then you can just return some kind of string. For example, it's going to highlight that. And you have to return, for example, get nodes, of course. And then that's going to highlight it. And if you click enter, there's also a right button. If you click on them, then it's going to copy to the clipboard. And I think these are the main Markdown features. You want to go on?
Yeah, I can continue. Yeah. And if you like a non-developer, have never written code in your life before, code blocks are pretty useful because they use a monospace font. So, for example, if you know those like ASCII art graphs, for example, you can copy them in here, and all the edges will be properly positioned, not like the other fonts, which like obviously will move them around, right? Speaking of fonts, you can select from a variety of fonts in the settings. We use Source Serif 4 by default because I think it's a very nice font. It's like Times New Roman, but not as mainstream, a little bit
modern.
Yeah, more modern is a good word. Obviously, you can choose whatever you want. Well, not whatever you want. What we give you, and you can select from.
And is the Google fonts on there?
Yeah, like we have we put a lot of effort into selecting fonts that we think are the best ones. But yeah, if you really think there's something missing here, you can obviously text us on Instagram or on GitHub. We open sourced our GitHub engine yesterday, and it has been quite a success. So we are very happy about that. But yeah, let's come back to the main features. If you have like a node now, which is nothing else than like a piece, like a Markdown file, you can assign a tag to it. And you do this by so you can create a new tag, which is at the same time a search field. So for example, you can type in nodes, and if we wouldn't have had a tag named nodes already, you could create it here. But as we already have it, we can just add it. And a tag you can imagine on a high level, maybe a little bit like a folder. So it groups all similar nodes of you together. But it's a lot cooler than a folder, obviously. First of all, you can assign multiple tags to a node. They can also be auto-assigned by a local LLM, but we will talk about all those features in a deep dive video. For now, let's focus on the tag itself. With Command O, you can open search, and now, for example, search for the tag you just assigned, which is this one. You can see or distinguish a tag from a node by the pentagon. All nodes are circles, all tags are pentagons. And you can simply open it. And then you enter this beautiful view. There you have an overview of the tag itself, how much you entered last year. As you can see here.
Very nice animations.
Very nice animations indeed. We took a little bit of inspiration from the font style in the background, from the stamped in, like in the MacBook Pros, they're stamped in the aluminum at the bottom. I don't know if you like.
You can see it, but That's like
let's trust
this
in the 4K recording. But yeah, like I mean,
looks really good.
besides some obvious metadata, we have co-occurrences, so tags that you often assign to nodes that have this tag. I think this is quite self-explanatory. And for the local LLMs, you can add rules. So for example, here a good rule would be remember and so this will improve the local intelligence models. But
just give them more context, I would say.
Exactly, because obviously like nodes, we know it's the name of our app, right? But a small large language model that runs locally has no idea what you're talking about. It probably thinks about the concept of a graph. So it might add this tag when you talk about mathematical concepts in graph theory, but it cannot make the mental jump to you talking about your app that you created, like in our case, and suggest this tag. Therefore, you can like nudge it into the right direction. It's very useful.
But they've got a more deep dive videos about this.
Yes, there will be deep dive
videos. Such a short explanation for all of them.
Yeah, and this is already it. Here you have all the nodes that you have linked to this tag, and here you can see your recent open nodes. This will be back at our demo. And
maybe we mention the swipe, the horizontal swipe.
Yes.
You can just swipe them.
That's also quite cool. With like 2 fingers, you can just swipe left and right, which is very nice.
It's really convenient. So
I love it. Yeah, I think it's a very underrated feature, and good to mention it. But yeah, this is like how you create a node, how you add a tag, how you explore then the tag.
Yeah.
And we think this is
it's
the core of the app.
Yeah.
There will be more in detail videos soon, but yeah, it's fully local, fully private, and yeah, the reception so far has been very nice. Thank you so much for it, and
we'll see you next time with a deep dive video.
Yes, indeed.